psychology behind it must have been crazy, bro. I don't know how they managed to convince people to actually do that. We suffer from a disease of the mind called psychopathia.
Look at this fancy machine that the Fed has. Machine, this is completely symbolic. Don't overinterpret the analogy here. So
I just did, bro. I was completely going deep into the analogy and just completely why gold still holds so much power.
if we took all of the gold that has ever been mined in all of human history and put it all in one place in a giant cube here in Washington, D.C., it would look like this.
I was expecting something completely massive. What is this, bro? It's like nothing. It's literally nothing. That's like not. It's so small. It's not even the size of these buildings, bro. These buildings are significantly larger compared to this. I swear they had these massive underground bunkers to hold this much gold. This is the amount of gold that's mined in the entire human history. But I swear every single time I see those bunkers where people hold the gold, where the government is securing the gold, right? I swear they're like so much more gold. Like, what is this?
Oh, this is it. I mean, it's pretty big, but I kind of thought it was going to be a lot bigger. So what's all this gold even
It's not even pretty big, bro. It's so small.
been used for? Well, 45% of it is used for like decoration and jewelry. You got necklaces, you got
45%.
earrings. You've got this giant Buddha that's just solid gold. There's an old Egyptian coffin made of pure gold. Largest gold coin in the world. It's got a kangaroo on it. It's 45% of all the gold. You got a small portion of all this stuff that gets used for industry, stuff like the fillings in your teeth or electronic components that use.
Damn, electronic components uses gold. That is crazy. Imagine how expensive they must be, bro. No wonder Nvidia. Okay, I don't think Nvidia uses gold components. And there's hardware, but they are expensive AF.
The special properties of gold to work. But then a huge portion of all of this gold is just sitting in vaults around the world, mostly in New York and London, in the form of bars, gathering dust. Governments and investors have been on a gold buying spree lately. I mean, look.
Like, if you use it to make stuff, right? If you use gold to make stuff, then I get it, right? Like, it's valuable, it looks shiny, you get some kind of social status from that. Usually kings and queens are the ones who hold that much gold, and even average people, like, that's like a really good investment to invest in gold. No financial, not a financial advice, by the way. Oh my god,
Look at the price of gold.
President Trump is seeking more control of the Federal Reserve.
Gold prices soared to a record high after US President Donald Trump criticized Federal Reserve.
Russia and China have been buying a lot of gold bars. And Florida is trying to make it so that gold can be used as real money again. It seems like gold is having a comeback. But actually, what I'm learning is that it never went away in the first place.
would you look at that? Bro, these movies and cartoons make it out like there's so much gold in the world. But in reality, there's literally nothing, bro. The visualization just completely robbed all of the awe that I had. It literally dragged it all out. It's crazy. Origins.
So how did all of this gold get here to Earth? Well, a lot of the gold that humans mined came to us on one of these, an asteroid loaded up with heavy metals that formed from exploding stars. If you zoom into one of those metals, you'll see some really weird looking atoms. The electrons are moving nearly the speed of light. This absorbs the blue light and reflects the yellow and red light. Look, it's yellow, it's shiny, like the sun. No other metal does it quite like this. These gold deposits sat in Earth's crust for billions of years, undiscovered. Some rivers dug in, eroding the Earth and revealing these pieces of shiny stardust. It caught the eye of some humans who noticed it was different.
Found this shiny rock that they dug out of the ground that they could turn into things that it didn't tarnish.
It was a dense metal, but it was somehow soft and workable. It didn't rust. It was incorruptible. Was it eternal?
Gold has
Damn, bro, they came from asteroids. Golds are literally out of this world, bro. They came from heaven or some shit like that. They just fall into this world. They can't rust, which majority of the metals do. Like steels and iron, like copper. Even copper does oxidization, right? So like gold is the only metal that just doesn't change. So it's literally immortal. So if you make a coffin out of it, then you have an immortal coffin. Maybe that's why they made statues of Buddha and coffins of the Egyptian kings with that, because it's immortal. God damn, bro. This is some sick, symbolic meaning. The symbolic meaning is actually crazy. You can't even make gold. It has crazy science. It's a particles, the atoms it has is moves in the speed of light, which is actually insane. Like, oh my god.
Has chemical properties that have proven to be very interesting and useful to many societies across a kind of many centuries. And some of those properties have to do with its purity, some of them have to do with its malleability, some of them have to do with its indestructibility, and some of it has to do with its aesthetic intrigue.
Golds are indestructible? I did not know that. Like, since when are golds indestructible, bro? Maybe she means it in a different way, like they're indestructible in the way they can't go bad, or like I don't know.
From China to the Andes, people independently fell under gold's spell, at first for decoration and celebration of their rulers and their gods. Indian healers made medicine with it. To the Inca, gold was the sweat of the sun. They covered their temples and adorned their faces with it. The Greeks made statues. King Solomon plated his temple with it. And 6,000 years ago, this guy was buried with a gold bracelet, with beads, with a scepter, with a sheath.
Damn, this guy's rich, bro. 6,000 years ago. Bro, this guy got more gold than like majority of the humans in history. Like, he did that 6,000 years ago. Bro might have had 50% of the entire gold mine reserves and buried with it. 6,000 years ago. Did he actually see?
Greeks made statues. King Solomon plated his temple with it. And 6,000 years ago.
6,000 years ago, bro. Like, actual.
Oh, this guy was.
Like, 6,000 years ago is like actually mentally insane. Like, 6,000 years ago, what, like, so many civilizations did not even exist in the truest form, right? They weren't, like, they did exist, but, like, you know, they weren't that advanced. So this guy being this rich is actually insane, bro. Look at the amount of gold he has. He even got the emerald axe. Bro got the Minecraft update before anybody else got it, but
buried with a gold bracelet, with beads, with a scepter, with a sheath. Oh, and not for his sword, but for his... Yeah, I mean, I guess it was pretty valuable stuff. Chinese emperors ingested gold, trying to become immortal, which, spoiler alert, doesn't work. But as humans gather...
Nice try though. It is an immortal material. I would have tried that if I was an ancient emperor too. You know, why the hell not? Just drink a little bit of gold. It's not like cyanide. It's not gonna poison you. I don't think, at least. Does it poison you? I know for a fact that some Chinese emperor drank mercury or some shit and just died from poisoning. That was really bad, bro. Imagine being the emperor of an entire nation and just dying out like that because of you wanting immortality. It is what it is.
In larger and larger groups, empires grew, they became greedy and hungry for more land. The story of gold starts to evolve, helping kick off one of the most significant psychological inventions humans ever came up with, the invention of money.
It's a commonly accepted medium of exchange that many people are willing to accept it in early.
Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy. Like, in every single culture, gold is valuable. I haven't seen a culture where gold is unvaluable, bro. Every single culture, unanimously. Anyways, everybody agrees that gold is valuable. Every single country and every single person in the world agrees that this is a valuable material. So it is a valuable material. It doesn't matter if it doesn't have that much of a use, but if everybody agrees that it has value, then it has value. Just like how money does. Money we have right now is just paper, right? It doesn't have any intrinsic value. It's just paper. But as long as everybody agrees that it has value, it has value. Just like gold. Gold is not some kind of miracle material that you can just, if you drank it, you're going to become immortal. It doesn't have value like that, but it has value because everybody agrees it has value. I might be yapping though, but that's true.
Societies, one of the most common things was cattle.
Yep, we're talking about cows. We'll get back to gold in just a sec. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go to the cooler stuff. Who cares about gold? Let's talk about cows. More important stuff. I like cows.
Inside the human brain to see how money evolves. So yeah, instead of just trading something I want for something you want, humans started settling on commonly useful things that they could carry around and that would be valuable to most people.
Historically, lots of objects have served as monies. You got barley, salt.
Cows were something that many people needed for food. They were transportable because they could walk. They were pretty easy to maintain because they ate grass.
This is the most obvious version of money. Something that is practical and useful. It'll help you survive. But they also
Yeah, they are a lot more useful than gold, bro. With gold, you can't even survive. You can't eat that stuff. You can't drink that stuff. It has literally no value unless people, in terms of a person, survival. A cow, you can like drink its milk. You can eat its meat. You can take its hides. There's so many uses for cows, and they are such a valuable asset to have. In the ancient times, they are intrinsically more valuable to have compared to gold, right?
also have drawbacks. Cows don't make good money. That's a weird sentence I never thought I would say. But yeah, they spoil, they're hard to divide. You can't easily bring them to faraway places to do trading. So eventually, humans found something better. That shiny, soft metal pulled from the riverbeds. It was easy to shape, to split up.
So it's easy to carry around, it's easily divisible.
And it just looks cool. I mean, humans love shiny things. So that was like a nice added bonus. It was rare, but not too rare. Like there was enough of it, but it wasn't like everywhere, which like that's an important part of this. But gold.
Ah, yes. But I don't know, bro. There weren't a whole lot. I can't believe people have that many gold, but in the grand scheme of things, there really is not that many gold. Like the visualization, it completely caught me off guard. There's like literally no way there's only that much gold. In my head, I thought there would be like so much more gold. Like I am not even kidding, bro. There's a reason why this stuff is valuable. It is crazy.
Gold doesn't feed you.
It does look really cool though. Every single look at this, bro. It's shiny. It's actually kind of insane. Look at that. Oh my god.
It doesn't keep you warm. It doesn't shelter
It's freaking useless, but it does look cool. Nope, it does look cool.
for you. Yes, you can make jewelry and like a dagger out of it or something, but like it's not that
A
intrusive.
trash dagger, bro. It wouldn't even work if you make a dagger out of gold. Like the only reason you make a golden dagger is to flex. That's the only reason you're making it. It has no combat ability, no utilitarian ability at all. You can make an iron knife and that would be significantly better than any knife you can make out of gold.
Intrinsically useful, unless we introduce a very powerful ingredient to the mix. It's a very human ingredient called belief. This guy
I said it before. As long as you believe something is valuable, it is valuable. As a collective, we all can agree that gold is valuable, so it's valuable. Just like money, how money works right now. If you all come to agree that money is valuable, it's going to be valuable. Like how some certain currencies have like really hard power and some currencies are soft, because like everybody agrees American dollars are a lot more liquid, a lot more of a stable currency compared to like any third world country's currency, right? Everybody believes that to be the case, so that's the case. I'm gonna be yapping though. I'm just I have a little bit knowledge about it, but I am not that confident to be talking about this. It's been a while since I like learned about all of this stuff, so I might be kind of blurry on some of these topics.
believes gold is valuable, and so does this guy. If someone believes that gold is valuable, and so does another person, that belief turns metal into a system. He trades it for wheat. I'll give you gold, you give me wheat. You then take that gold and go trade it for salt or fabric. Gold becomes valuable not because of what it does, but because what we believe it means. So this is a big psychological step for us. From cattle, which has utility, to gold, which has no utility but is scarce, durable, divisible, universal, and
That's some fancy words right there. A lot of fancy words.
don't forget, nice and shiny. And all this is made possible
The
because
shiny part's the important part. You know, forget all those fancy words. If it's not shiny, it's not valuable. That's all that matters, bro. Look at diamonds. It's shiny, it's valuable, and it's rare. You gotta be rare and shiny. That's how you become valuable. If you're rare and not shiny, sorry, bro. You kind of out of luck. You're kind of chopped. You're not making it. You gotta be.
because of collective belief. Belief that if I have this metal, I will be able to go use it to buy things that help me survive. And if everyone believes it, then it works.
Gold and silver became the dominant monies throughout the world.
So, the belief in gold spreads throughout the world a few thousand years ago, not just as a thing that we do to worship the gods, but as a means of trade, a currency, a money. This also happened with gold's forgotten cousin, silver. Poor silver. It just didn't get those fast-moving electrons to make it shine.
Yo, what happened to silver, bro? I'm pretty sure silver was so valuable before. Like, everybody was talking about silver in the ancient times. I'm pretty sure China was, like, pretty big on silver, if I'm not mistaken. So, I don't know what happened to that. Silver is just, it's not gold. I think it's just not gold, bro. That's the only reason. It's just not gold. You're not shiny enough, bro. Get out of here. You're not shiny enough. You gotta be shiny like gold and cool like gold. Only gold can be gold. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about.
And there's like too much of it too. Anyway, soon gold was stamped into standardized coins, being used as a near universal form of money all around the world. It was magic, but it was also mania. When the Spanish landed on the shores of modern-day Mexico in 1519, they met the Aztec civilization, and one thing caught their eye: gold. Lots of gold, including these gifts that the Aztec king was presenting to these Spaniards, giving it to them for free. The Aztecs were using lots of gold, but not as a currency, but as decoration, for worship, for armor, for blades. It wasn't economic, but to the Spanish, gold had become economic.
Why would they use it like that though? I mean, it's still valuable in the Aztec Empire, but it's not used as a currency, which I don't understand how or why. There might be reasons for it.
Means of trade, it was wealth, and here it was in extreme abundance, and they wanted it. Or in the words of one Spanish conqueror, we suffer from a disease of the heart that can only be cured by gold.
Man, these guys are poets or what? Kind of poetic answer is this, bro? They're just trying to rob gold and they're trying to describe it as in the most poetic way possible. It's like trying to murk somebody and just calling it, we suffer from a disease of the mind called psychopathia.
The Spanish ended up massacring the Aztecs with their weapons and their diseases. They took as much gold as they could find, these statues and masks and jewelry and blades, melted them down, shaped them into uniform units of value, and stamped them with a seal of authority. They spent the next century ripping through the Americas, chasing every rumor of golden cities and sacred wealth, places like El Dorado, Cibola. Men fevered by greed for this shiny metal stuff, fueled by conquest and spoils that built their cathedrals, and ended up kicking off a race among the European empires, a race for more and more gold.
Let's not forget what the Spanish found when they came to the New World. Gold. Mountains of it.
And then, of course, this leads to a cottage industry of renegade sailors, sometimes hired by other empires, trying to intercept these ships going to and from the New World with hopes of finding.
That's how the pirates came to be, bro. Now it's all coming to sense now to make more money. Everybody wants to make money, and the easiest way to make money is by robbing other people. How? Okay.
Need one of these.
I mean, we don't have to do that now. We don't rob other people to make money now, right? I think we have a much better economical system compared to what we had in the 1500s, which is essentially, if you want to make it rich or get rich, you just have to rob from other people. But thankfully, we don't do that no more. We have become a better as a society, I think.
Chests full of gold. Now, I was disappointed in my reporting when I discovered that most pirates weren't actually after gold and didn't find a lot of gold. They were after more boring stuff like lumber. And they didn't really have these X marks the spot type maps where they buried their chests of gold.
My entire childhood was ruined in a couple of sentences. What was that, bro? What was that? I was dreaming about this stuff. God damn it. I was just dreaming that I would come across a red cross mark like this and I will make it rich in that split second. But now, my entire life is ruined. Lumber, they were going after flipping armadas for lumber. Like, why would they do this ever? Literally wood, bro. You can cut down like fucking flipping trees there. You don't need to go to the flipping sea to find lumber. You don't need to go to the flipping sea to find wood. You have land. There are trees there. Go cut them down. What are you going for? What are you going around ships for, bro? The ships are made out of lumber, I guess. But you like, what kind of economic? It makes no sense. Like, what are these guys, bro? Oh my god.
Look, it's the X.
X marks the spot!
That's mostly a myth, but it's also kind of a useful example of how gold inspired these like big grand stories of adventure, of jackpot, how it enlivened the imagination and inflamed this greed in people's minds. I mean, I get it. How sick is the idea of a bunch of gold that never rusts, buried somewhere in the Caribbean, ready to turn a peasant into a count?
Greetings.
God, I love the Count of Monte Cristo from the early 2000s. So by the 1800s, this psychological leap is complete. There is a near universal belief in gold as a currency, a means for exchange, the universal money. Big European empires had already torn across continents in search for it, and now it was the turn of regular people, the dreamers, the risk takers, the desperate men who joined the hunt for gold. Men with nothing to lose, chasing rumors of riches, and doing pretty reckless and extraordinary things, all for a shot at striking gold. A big group of them in 1849 fled into the western United States, helping build California, becoming the 49ers, all in search for gold. These guys are in Canada's Yukon, where it is very cold, and they're looking for gold. I mean, this happened everywhere. South Africa, Australia, the Amazon, each place the same story. Men intoxicated by the idea of getting rich off of gold, doing whatever it takes to get their hands on the stuff, even forcing others to mine it for them. This frenzy of hope, chaos, migration. It was gold fever, and it didn't just move markets, it moved human beings, entire populations. It was, as the writer of this excellent book puts it, a murderous, cruel, intoxicating, brutal adventure that swallowed an entire civilization and spat it out as coins. Man, I love when rigorous historians...
These guys are poets, bro, for real.
...and spat it out as coins. Man, I love when rigorous historians write beautiful language. Okay, let's dive back into the brain really quick and see what's going on next. Hold up. This is actually a perfect time for me to thank today's sponsor to get my
Enviro Elements
gold so that I can keep running this company. And it's actually something that I use. It looks like this. Enable threat protection. Boom.
VPN.
I'm in. So
NordVPN.
NordVPN used to just be a virtual private network.
Okay, a NordVPN, whatever.
We're about to take another big psychological leap here. The leap from a belief in this soft, shiny metal to a belief in paper.
One of the problems with physical gold is that if you want to trade it in large quantities, it's pretty heavy to carry around a lot of gold. And what people decided was if they could deposit their gold into a bank, it would give them a banknote, which was essentially an IOU. 1 ounce of gold was worth approximately $20. So basically, if you had a $20 bill, you could
Paper currency came to be very informative stuff. In reality, it all comes down to convenience, right? It's a lot more convenient to actually use gold compared to cows. So when cows were very inconvenient to use as a currency, we switched on to gold. And when gold became really inconvenient to carry, we switched the gold out for paper. Now we don't even carry paper anymore, bro. We just carry a flipping phone. The inconvenience of carrying around everything is just significantly decreasing. It's actually kind of insane to think about how currencies evolve into forms because of convenience and ease of use. Ease of carry. That's a better way to put it.
go into a bank and redeem it for 1 ounce of gold.
Most individuals, when they got paid, they got to pay envelopes stuffed with banknotes. So that was the everyday medium of exchange.
Bro, I'm just imagining how to fake this stuff. There has to be people who fake this, right? There is no way people don't fake this, bro. There's too much money out here for people not to be faking this stuff. Every single time I think about this, I always be thinking there has to be people who actually fake this stuff. Like a couple hundred years ago, where not as much safety precautions as we have right now. Making counterfeit bills back in the days should have been a lot easier compared to now, which is like so impossibly hard to make counterfeit bills right now. But back then, it should have been a lot easier because I don't believe they have that many safety precautions in place just to guard against this stuff.
As long as you trusted that the banknotes were good, you really didn't think about much which bank had issued the notes. They all exchanged 1-to-1 against each other and against gold and silver dollars.
If you wanted gold instead of the banknote, you could come in and redeem the banknote and they
So like banks literally just own the flipping currency, bro. That's actually crazy. I could just open up a bank and make my own papers and just give people the banknotes and take their gold, and I could run off with it. That I'm pretty sure people did that, bro. There's no way people didn't do it. These guys are devious. They might be doing those devious activities in the background. I'm pretty sure. Like even right now, there's so many scammers out there. Like they take their money, even banks kind of scam you, right? You see banks fall off in a couple of recent years. So even now, banks do that. Back in the days, it might have been crazy, bro. I'm expecting it. Let's see.
So now instead of believing in gold, we are believing in banks, trusting them that if they give us this piece of paper, it actually represents the gold that they are holding safe in their vault. And that at any moment, if I needed the gold, I could go to the bank, get the gold. That is now a pretty far abstraction from cows, something that feeds us. We're now carrying around paper. But once again, it follows the same rule that if everyone believes it, and if the banks don't give us any reason not to believe it, then this worthless piece of paper turns into economic power, a currency. And in fact, if we can do that, it's really convenient. It makes trade way easier. Theoretically, everyone thrives here. So, yeah, silver. Okay, yeah. Instead of gold in the vault, a lot of economies had silver in the vault, and a lot of economies were trying to have both metals, giving them each a specific value and pegging that value so that it wouldn't change too much. But this becomes a problem. It's really hard to have two metals as the foundation of your paper money. And then suddenly, if there's a big discovery of silver, Nevada or something, there's way more silver, so it throws off the value of silver, but it's pegged to the value of gold, and so all this arbitrage happens. This was a huge, decades-long debate here in the United States. It got really political. You've got this guy running for office, mostly on a platform of silver, and some people think that The Wizard of Oz is an entire commentary on this debate between gold and silver. And
I think gold is better than silver. I'm just gonna say it straight up. I think they're better. It is what it is, chat. You can't debate me about that.
While reporting this story, I was multiple times very tempted to go down this rabbit hole. This is a video about gold, not about silver. Sorry, silver. So we'll save that one.
Still is. Silver is so less relevant compared to gold. Nobody cares about silver. Nobody talks about silver. Maybe a couple hundred years ago, people would be all over silver. But right now, in the current meta, nobody gives a flipping care about silver. Everybody, the only thing people care about right now is gold. That's the only thing they care about.
For another day. And indeed, by 1900, gold, this shiny metal that humans have been using for thousands of years to do trade, endured as the one metal that we would base.
That's completely defeated silver. Somebody drew this, bro. This looks like a propaganda poster for real. It literally looks like that. It's kind of crazy. This is a gold propaganda, literal gold propaganda, bro. Look at this, standing tall over silver, even though silver is so much larger compared to gold. But being small is what made gold a significantly better metal. Now you guys get it? Being small isn't all that bad.
Here in the United States, but a lot of countries too. We set a firm standard. $20 gets you 1 ounce of gold. There's a finite number of gold. It doesn't fluctuate too much. Anyway, this was called the gold standard. And the United States and a bunch of other big countries were on the gold standard in the early 1900s.
The gold standard has completely annihilated the silver standard, which I could barely read now.
Okay, let's get back to the human brain because we're about to go through our third massive...
The human brain is gold. It is filled with gold. I knew that. I should have known.
Leap in the psychology of money. Let me warn you, this one's kind of weird, and I went to college for this one, monetary policy and economics, and I'm going to do my best to explain it, but it starts to get a little bit wacky. And we're also entering some controversial territory. Economists, who are much smarter than I, debate this stuff, what I'm about to say, and they all have different takes, and they have strong feelings about it. So I'm going to do my best here, but in the comments, you're going to see some strong opinions. I welcome them. Just be nice. So it's the early 1900s. Banks have gold in their vault. They give you a piece of paper that says you're entitled to the gold in the vault. But it turns out human beings are struggling to adopt the paper thing fully.
There are a series of
Yeah, I would be kind of scared to adopt paper, bro. There's no way I would putting away all of my gold to get paper. It's kind of impressive they actually managed to convince people into switching from gold to paper. The psychology behind it must have been crazy, bro. I don't know how they managed to convince people to actually do that.
Financial panics. You probably don't want to get into the causes of the panics. The banks had a limit to how many banknotes they could issue. So when people wanted more currency and they couldn't get banknotes, they would take gold and silver coins out of the bank vaults. And now the banks are losing reserves. Now they have a problem.
So here they all are at the same time rushing to the bank to pull their money out all at once. This is not good for an economy that grows when you give banks money to lend out to other people and trust that not everyone's going to try to take it all out at the same time. We made a whole video about this, how modern finance and credit works and how that multiplies the money supply in these weird ways. You can check that out. But for now, just look at this picture of a bunch of people on Wall Street trying to get their gold out and know that this is not good for the economy. So the US government decides that having all of these decentralized private banks who are giving out paper money is just too prone to these vulnerabilities, to everyone going and taking all the money out at the same time. So they decide to make one bank to rule them all, aka the central bank, aka the Federal Reserve, aka the Fed.
The Fed.
We're just gonna call it the Fed from now on. Why did the US government decide they needed to centralize this around a single bank?
It's a federal institution that will cope with potential panics and shortages of currency and shortages of bank reserves.
The Fed would be the big bank that would be given a bunch of power to set the rules for the rest of the banks.
By issuing more currency when it's desired.
Now, it was still technically pegged to the gold standard, but a huge difference was now you couldn't just go to the bank and exchange your paper for gold. And the Fed would be in charge of controlling how many of these banknotes were floating around the economy.
And so in the United States, we have the Federal Reserve that is the monopoly provider of dollars.
Which in turn determines how the economy works, how people spend money, how people borrow money. And their goal at first was just to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Look at this fancy machine that the Fed has.
Damn, bro, they're the one who controls the inflation rate. They control unemployment too. I mean, it shows the inflation and unemployment rate. I don't think they control it, but they can see it. That's why this has this kind of visual interest rate. They can control the interest rate because that's what I'm assuming from the visuals he's showing. I might be smart. Money supply, they can increase the money supply, obviously. They can print more money. They are the one who prints money, so it makes sense. Quantitative easing, what is that even? What word is that, bro? Financial stability, risk appetite, how risky people are with their money. I don't know what that means actually. Reserve requirements, discount rate, and I can't read the other one.
This is not a literal machine. This is completely symbolic. Don't overinterpret the analogy here. So
I just did, bro. I was completely going deep into the analogy and just completely.
To be clear, we're still on the gold standard at this point. It's like 1913 or something. Every 20 bucks is pegged to an ounce of gold. But now the Fed has all of these levers to play with. These levers that invisibly incentivize people to borrow money, it's the interest rate, to spend money. And with their new power, the Fed starts fiddling around with all of these levers. Hey, look, if you lower the interest rate, more people will borrow money. They'll spend money. They'll start businesses, more jobs.
Many critics have said that they kept interest rates below where they should have been. They made credit too abundant, and so you had an overinvestment boom in the 1920s that, although there were genuine investment opportunities due to technological change, electrification, the automobile, things like that.
Wow, look, it's an economic boom. It's the roaring 20s. The stock market just quadrupled in 5 years. Times are good, thanks in part to the Fed pulling some of these levers. Though this, like many assertions I'm about to say, is kind of debated. Try not to get sucked down the economic debate rabbit hole here. So things were good in the 1920s, maybe a little too good. Uh-oh.
The Fed over-amplified that boom and raised it to an unsustainable pitch.
The bubble burst, the good times ended, and the US and the rest of the world falls into a Great Depression.
The entire world just decided to make the same mistake that America did. That's crazy, bro. There is no way. Only if America did it, they're the ones who would be suffering. Why is the entire world suffering with them? Like, did they make the exact same mistake at the exact same time, or the economy, the world economy, that connected, or what? Like, I don't get it.
In the early years of the Great Depression, starting in 1930, there are bank runs that drain a lot of the gold out of the banking system into individuals' wallets and under their mattresses.
Again, we made a whole video about what recessions and depressions are. Check that out. Okay, but watch what happens here. One of the very important levers that the Fed has on this symbolic machine is to put more money into the economy. And they do this through a bunch of different indirect mechanisms. But the result is there's more money to go around, and borrowing money is cheaper. They can make the interest rate go down. So it's like, doesn't cost that much to borrow money. During the Great Depression, most economists agreed that the Fed should have done this. So why aren't they using this? It's the Great Depression. People aren't spending money. People are losing their jobs. Lower the interest rate, get more money into the economy. But look, they can't really do that very much. The money supply is fixed to gold.
If the Fed started to issue more notes, it could reach a point where it was constrained by not having enough gold to back them.
If you lower the interest rate, then people are going to borrow a bunch of money. But then what if they show up to the bank with all that money and demand gold bars in exchange for their paper? They might do that. Everyone's kind of panicky. So the Fed is envisioning this nightmare scenario where all of their gold goes away and the whole system falls apart. So instead of lowering the interest rate, they hike it up. They defend their gold. The historians who debate this stuff don't agree on all of this, but they do agree that this course of action made the whole thing worse, made the Great Depression last a lot longer. 10 years of misery.
And so the Federal Reserve, instead of saying, hey, we made a big mistake, we shouldn't have caused this bubble in the economy, they said, you know what, we need even more power to control the money supply. And that's what happened.
That resulted in the president coming out and saying, hey, the gold standard really just screwed us over. We weren't able to pull all of our levers because we were pegged to this obsession with being backed by gold. So let's be done. Enough is enough. We need flexibility in a crisis. And if you want to go way down the technical rabbit hole, look up the unholy trinity. That's a very technical explanation of what's going on here. All the sources are in the description, as always. So it's 1933, and FDR comes out with an executive order saying that Americans need to turn in their gold bars in exchange for flimsy dollar bills. And the government could now print as much or as little money as they wanted to guide the economy's behavior to keep it humming along. And hopefully keep prices stable. Now, you don't have a finite thing called gold that is like, there's only so much of it. Because
Damn, bro. To be honest, I already knew this stuff. But I didn't know the history behind it that much, to be honest. I knew like the money is not like really tied to the gold, but I did not know there were a massive backstory like this for it. Which is crazy. Was it ultimately the right decision? I think it is. Like, but right now, our money is like literally tied to nothing, bro. It literally is tied to nothing. Gold is, it's valuable as long as people believe it to be valuable. Like how majority of the publicly traded companies are valuable because majority of the people think it's valuable, so their stock prices are high. And why Apple just becomes it's the largest company in the world because people or investors believe it to be so. That's why it's the largest company in the world, and for good reasons. I don't know where I'm going with this analogy, so I'm trying to make a simple analogy that me and majority of the people can understand, but I'm kind of struggling with that because I'm not that smart. It is what it is.
Because now you just have an infinite thing called dollars and a central bank who can effectively print as much of it as they want. The more they print, the less each is worth, so prices go up. That's inflation. Anyway, let's go back into the brain because this is like the biggest psychological leap of them all. Money is still belief. But without the gold standard, the belief is in the government, in their paper, even if it's not backed by anything. It is a
trust in the government.
In the government's ability to run this machine properly. This is called fiat money, and it's a whole lot different than cows, where we started. It started in 1933.
I mean, the thing is going beyond something else, bro. It becomes less useful as it goes on in the real world. So if the American government just disappeared the next day, money would be completely useless. This paper would be completely worthless. But if you had cows, that's why billionaires are buying lands and cows nowadays, bro. Bill Gates, I see what you're doing, bro. I see what you're doing.
This is how money was valued.
Is that a conspiracy theory? Am I just kind of spreading conspiracy theories now? I did not know I do that. Nah, bro, cut that out. Cut that part out.
Valued in the United States by a decree from above. Now, full disclosure, I went to Brigham Young University, studied econ, and studied under a school of thought that was very much like pro-Fed. The Fed and fiat money is sort of like the best thing we got going. It makes mistakes sometimes, but like it's better than the gold standard. I intentionally talked to two economists for this story who were like a little more skeptical of that take to kind of help balance me out. And my hope is that the story I just told you about this moment in time is a fair characterization. But if there's any professional economists watching, I would love your take on this. Like, I would love a good faith critique or like alternative view or whatever. Like, economics is not science, it is psychology. And so we get to debate it endlessly. So gold is out. And so what, are we at the end of the road for this shiny metal?
even in science, people still debate about stuff. I don't know. Like, even in science, I've seen a lot of debates and a lot of arguments on things. So it's not
This thing that humans have loved forever? Not so fast. So, 1944, World War II is winding down. The US is realizing that in just a matter of years became the most powerful country in the world and defeated the two rising empires and was now on top of everything. So they get all of their ally countries together, a couple dozen countries, in a hotel in the mountains of New Hampshire with the goal of designing a new global economic system, a set of rules that everyone will play by. And the US, of course, takes the lead on what this system will look like. They propose that instead of creating some universal global currency, as some were proposing, the world should instead opt for the US dollar to become the universal, globally accepted currency that everyone else's currency would be like attached to. And the rest of the countries are like,
hell nah, bro. Who would agree to this kind of dumbass?
Seems kind of sketchy that we're just trusting you and your dollar. And the US says, okay, but remember, all of our dollars are still backed up with gold. Normal citizens can't turn it in for gold, but we promise to you countries that all of your dollars can be
but only for foreign governments or central banks, not individuals.
turned in for real gold bars, $35 per ounce. You can come to us and exchange them for gold whenever you want, and we'll promise we'll keep it in the vault. Speaking of the vault, look at our vault. This is Fort Knox. It's in Kentucky. This is where we keep our gold, and we have a lot of it now.
Be honest, bro. I don't know if America is trying to brag about this vault or not, but this does not look like a secure vault at all, bro. What is this? Fences? What are these fences, bro? What is this? They could just ram a truck through this shit and just immediately get to this vault or whatever. Easily. The fort is not forting at all. I need to at least like 50 feet deep. Cement made out of rocks and iron, bro. I need to see them like 50 foot high and 50 foot deep. That's the kind of security I'm expecting for like the vault of entire nations in one place. And you got some fences guarding it. They're showing off this flipping fort and they're bragging about it. Look at our fort. Look at like right there. Isn't that so cool? Man, that's like the coolest shit ever. Look at that. Look at the fences, guys. It's like the most secure fort in the entire flipping world. Come on.
Now, because a lot of you all, world, gave us your gold in exchange for weapons we made for you during the war. So, the dollar is king, and we'll back it up with gold. Take it or leave it, guys. And they indeed
Everybody
took
claps.
it. And
Okay.
the dollar became the king of global trade and investing. And gold was once again at the center of our concept of money, but not for long. Turns out the US couldn't keep its promise to back up all of its dollars with gold in its vault.
Yeah, bro, there's no way I never trusted this vault in the first place. They show me this picture. I am not investing in this, bro. Immediately get out of that place. Nah. Hell nah. Look at this vault one time and I'm done. Like, hell nah, bro. Get out there.
They were printing more money, they were giving it out, and the world catches on. And some countries get kind of pissed.
Until finally, there were so many dollars that they started to redeem them, Germany and France in particular.
Like France apparently sends a Navy ship in the 60s to show up to New York to be like, hey, we're going to give you our dollars. We want our gold.
And the Treasury ran out of gold. Then we shut the gold window in 1971.
I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets.
And finally, the president at the time, who is President Nixon, comes out and is like, okay. Yes, we don't have the gold anymore. You got us. But guys, come on. Be reasonable. We're all used to using the dollar by now. The whole global economy is used to this. We're America. We've proven that we're stable. You can trust us. I mean, look at our economy and look at our military. We are safe and stable. Use our currency, invest in our government, and you can sell those bonds whenever you want. We'll give you dollars and you can use that to buy like oil and whatever you want in the global economy. We promise we're good. And the world, without much choice, was like, okay, fine. And just when we thought we couldn't get any...
Bro, the entire world is a bunch of pussies, bro. Anything America says, they just really agree with it so easily. It's crazy.
Further away from cows, here we are. Our concept of money takes one more bonus step to here, where so much of the global economy runs on a currency that is built off of collective belief in a story, in a system, in an S with a line through it, in 19 people who sit in a fancy white building in Washington, D.C. and try to accurately predict the future and make decisions to pull proverbial levers to ensure that the dollar doesn't lose its value in all of our minds. So have they done a good job? Well, a lot of people say yes.
People from the Fed would say, look, we've done a great job. The Federal Reserve is better than putting this into a private market like we had before the Fed.
That being able to create new money in the economy helped us recover relatively quickly in the 2008 crash or during COVID. But a lot of people say no, that the Fed does a terrible job.
But I think the evidence says that actually they have not done very good. The Fed basically caused the Great Depression.
That inflation is out of control and that the people running it are never faced with the consequences for not.
Yeah, I don't think a majority of the people agree with today's economy. Today's economy is just terrible for the average person to be living in, so the Fed is not doing a great job at that. That's for sure.
Doing a good job. Several economists I talked to think that it's a lot of power to put in a government agency that isn't incentivized by the free market. But most monetary economists, the people who study this stuff, like the vast majority, think that, hey, the Fed's not perfect, doesn't get it right all the time, but this is the best version of a modern complex economy, and it generally works.
What you described as the Fed has made some mistakes, but we can't imagine living without it, that's probably 90% of the econ profession, or maybe higher. But everybody now has grown up in a world where it's hard to imagine what things would look like without the Fed. And it's especially hard to imagine once you're on a fiat money standard. If you're on a fiat money standard, somebody has to control the quantity of fiat money. And if it's not a central bank, how do you do that?
I'm actually not going to have an opinion on this. I'm still kind of making up my mind.
They're fence sitting on this one, chat. I'm gonna fence it on this one too because I don't understand shit.
So let's wind this video down by getting back to the central question at the beginning that we started with, which is, why are people buying gold again? Why is this happening?
The price of gold is near an all-time high.
Have you seen the price of gold lately?
Gold is up more than 13% this year.
So since we've gone totally off the gold standard since 1971, and in fact, even before that, people have started holding gold as a hedge against inflation.
Despite all of these mental leaps and these vast abstractions of economic value, here we are, turning back to gold. First off, foreign governments never got rid of their gold. The US still has huge stores of...
This is the exact same Ford. They were not kidding. Look at this Ford. The fences are crazy. They haven't updated the Ford in hundreds of years? Nasty work. This is insane. This is actually insane. They got those fences, bro. Look at these fences. I could I could jump through this shit. I'm not even kidding, bro. It might be electrocuted, but still, I can still jump through this. These walls kind of look tough, to be honest, but you can still get through it. The fences are not that high. I don't believe it.
Thousands and thousands of tons of gold in Fort Knox and other facilities. And so do a lot of other countries. A lot of countries store their gold in the United States, in New York City, in this gold reserve that is buried 50 feet into the bedrock of Manhattan. And it just sort of sits there, gathering dust and being a little reserve, a just-in-case type of...
Bro, this looks like a normal-ass building, bro. That looks like a normalized building for sure.
In this gold reserve.
Look at this. This looks like a normalized building, but underground. It got the most highest gold percentage in the entire world or some shit like that. It's crazy.
That is buried 50 feet into the bedrock of Manhattan. And it just sort of sits there, gathering dust and being a little reserve, a just-in-case type of thing. But a lot of regular people, investors, buy gold too, whenever they start to feel a little bit sketchy about the big psychological bargain they've made with the government.
If you're a normal person, you buy gold. But if you're a billionaire, you buy cows. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. Look at Bill Gates. What are they buying? Flipping farmlands and cows, bro. That's what they're buying. Now gold, I think we're going back to the apocalypse, resetting the entire society or some shit. Oh man, I should stop spreading these conspiracy theories. I can't, bro. I can't. Every single time my teachers always call me out on this shit, bro. It's every single time they ask me a question and I stand up to answer it, I just immediately start a conspiracy theory. It's kind of funny.
All of this is actually kind of squishy. It's very mental. All of this requires us to believe, but over here really requires us to believe. And even trust a US government and an economy. And recently, that trust has been waning. America has rival nations that are trying to get the world to stop trusting the dollar. They want to replace it. They don't like how much leverage it gives the US. The US economy and government have also been kind of all over the place recently. The stop and go of tariffs from the Trump administration.
Bro, it is so annoying, bro. This tariff shit, like every single time, I'm gonna put a tariff on you. No, now I'll take it back. I'm gonna put it on you. No, I'm gonna take it back. No, I'm gonna put it on you. No, I'm gonna take it back. It is so unstable. You don't want your entire country relying on a country's currency like that. They're just like the entire country. Okay, I'm going into politics now. Where I don't have any kind of political opinion towards any kind of parties. I'm not even part of America, bro. I'm not even American. Shit, they be doing.
First few months in office got people really spooked. Like, can we trust these people with our entire sense of value in our currency? And now that Trump is attacking the Fed and threatening to control it, people are turning to gold in a bigger and bigger way. And for at least for now, while I'm recording this, there seems to be some trepidation about people believing in the dollar. So that's why you see this kind of going back in time on the psychological leaps.
In the last few months, well, since the start of the Trump administration, there's been a loss of faith in the dollar vis-a-vis other fiat currencies. People are worried inflation may go up, either because of real shocks like the imposition of tariffs.
So people are rushing to other stores of value that don't rely on a central government. The shiny metal, gold, is one of them, but there's another currency that people are opting for that kind of looks a little bit like gold, at least mentally.
Bitcoin is essentially the new gold.
It's becoming really the true digital gold.
I think a lot of young people are comfortable with digital assets and digital currencies and would switch over to Bitcoin or something different. Either one of those things would provide.
I actually have $100 in crypto, but I don't know what happened to it. I haven't checked it in a while, bro. I had $40 on it before, and it just went up like $100, and it probably fell off right now. I heard like there was a massive crash after some shit happened. I did not check it. Probably like $10 or some shit like now. Probably something like that. It's crazy, bro. It crashed so hard. Like my entire net worth. It's literally my entire net worth I had in cryptocurrency, bro. I lost it all. My entire net worth just crashed and burned. Actually, $100. I'm not even kidding, bro. I was so happy when I got those $100, but now they're all gone.
A check on the Federal Reserve, because people would have an alternative and the Fed would know that if they created too much inflation, people would switch over.
Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies may represent a future path for this psychological journey of money that we've seen here. But
psychological journey is quite intensive, bro. We don't even need papers no more. We don't even need papers. We just need imagination. This is not imagination. It's not even real. It doesn't exist in the real world, but it exists in the digital world. See how we're transforming into spaces now that doesn't even exist. It's kind of crazy.
It seems to be too early to tell, but it does seem like we are entering a new chapter on this journey of our sense of value and currency and trust and belief. I'm not sure what it's going to look like. I don't presume to know, but as we've seen in this story, I think it's a pretty good guess that no matter what happens next, no matter what we invent with crypto or whatever, that shiny metal, that thing that has fascinated us for thousands of years, the thing that can be divided and stored and doesn't tarnish and that shines like the sun, gold, I think, will always remain in the background as this thing that we turn to when things feel uncertain.
And cows will always be superior to them. Maybe I should start buying cows too. What do you guys think? I don't have money to buy cows though. Cows are kind of expensive. I don't even have. Maybe I could buy digital cows. Wait, imagine that. We have Bitcoins, right? We can make a cow coin. That was a great video, bro. In the end, what do we learn from watching this video? We learned that making a cow coin is the best idea.